As for the third and final segment of this episode 20 of the Min Effect, I'm doing a fun episode. This is an episode that I really was excited to do because I'm a Vikings fan, all right? I just am. It's just like, this is something that I love to make fun of. And everyone can make fun of the Vikings, but it's nice to make fun of the Chicago Bears too. So this is going to be expectations versus reality for the Chicago Bears on the 2019 season. After going 12-4 in the 2018 season with the #1 ranked defense and a quarterback that was looking kind of promising. I mean, yeah, he got drafted with the same class as Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and was drafted above those two people, but he made a Pro Bowl. He was looking pretty good. And then it ended with the amazing double doink.
And he hits the upright again.
So then when that happened, they were like, okay, we'll just get a new kicker because Cody Parker is the only problem on our team. Yeah, well, that was not the case. You look at the Bears offense and it was just not good. So they added Cordero Patterson to their offense and looked amazing on special teams. I mean, we've known this forever. I mean, he played with the Vikings too. Like, they knew he was not a great receiver. I mean, he's an okay slot receiver, but great on special teams. And then they added him, who knows inside knowledge with the Vikings too. And they did beat the Vikings twice this season, with one of the games not even counting and the other games being because Kirk Cousins does so bad against good defenses. And then added Clinton Dix to the defense, who also played for the Packers. And so they had some inside knowledge on other teams in their division with those two players, with Clinton Dix being a starter. So they added a new starter to a defense that was already the best in the league, only to be a worse defense. So it was clear, like, the 2019 season looked really good for the Chicago Bears. I mean, people were even talking about a Super Bowl because of their moves in the offseason. Like, they made their team better than what it already was. So they were almost destined to at least win the division, right? So that's what NFL was saying. Like, they're going to win the division. That's what they were projected to win the division. And I think Packers second, Vikings third, and Lions fourth, which seemed like a pretty good prediction at the time. My prediction was Vikings winning, Packers second, Bears third, and then Lions fourth. Now, neither of those predictions were actually right in the end. However, I've never been very high on Mitchell Trubisky, and I didn't think that winning the division was right 2 years in a row when you didn't really, all they had was defense. So a quick recap of how the Chicago Bears season went. So they opened up the 100th season of the NFL with the oldest division rivalry in the NFL. They hosted the Green Bay Packers at home in Soldier Field, and was a very sloppy game. That was all defense, though. It was nice to watch. I mean, you had the Chicago Bears defense looking great again, as they did the whole 2018 season, and then you had the Packers' young defense starting to show a lot of promise. And the game ended 10-7. I mean, it was just a really sloppy game. Now, however, sloppy games are accepted in week 1 of the NFL. That's why a lot of ties happen week 1, week 2, because the team is really getting together, and it's a very sloppy games. And then after that, like, okay, no one was really doubting the Bears after that loss, because it was a pretty bad game. And it was week 1. And so then after that, they went on to win 3 in a row and were 3-1 in the division, with none of those 3 wins being very impressive wins. However, they played pretty bad teams, so you can't really say anything about them. They were 3-1 and still in second place in the division, trailing the undefeated Packers. So the Bears just won 3 in a row. And then now we're going to go on the road, and playing Oakland on the road, but not really playing Oakland on the road. They went to London to play Oakland and lost that game. This was Khalil Mack playing his old team. I thought it was a definite win by the Chicago Bears, especially because Oakland looked really bad at this point. So they went to play Oakland in London and lost that game, played horrible that game. I mean, everyone looked bad that game, defense, offense, everything. So then they were saying, okay, it's jet lag. I didn't know the Oakland Raiders couldn't get jet lag, but the Bears could. Whatever. They lost because of jet lag, and then they used that excuse. So then they went home and played in Soldier Field for their next game against the New Orleans Saints, who just lost Drew Brees. Drew Brees just got injured. This would be Teddy Bridgewater's first game back to start. Like, he hasn't been a starter for a while, so he came back to fill in for Drew Brees and got a lot of doubt. I mean, Chicago Bears were expected to win because of this, and then still lost that game. But obviously, now looking back on it, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater did win 5 games in a row, and they had a great defense. I mean, he threw to Michael Thomas. He has Michael Thomas to throw to on all of the games, and it was an acceptable loss. It was. The Saints are just a better team overall. So after this, hosting the Saints, they hosted another team. The team that should have been the easiest win of the entire year. Their offense looked bad. Their defense. Now, I was just praising this team in my last episode. I was saying, like, no one notices that they have a lot of talent. This is a great team. The I was about to say San Diego. The LA Chargers. It feels weird saying that. They hosted the LA Chargers at home and lost 17-16. They played awful. And this is the game when the critics were finally like, okay, this team is the Mitchell Trubisky's not good. Matt Nagy is now in the hot seat and they're not looking good at all. Their offense looks really bad. And their offense started looking worse and worse because the defense gave up on the offense. The defense is like, okay, here's the ball. They stop people on third down, give the ball to the offense, and the offense do nothing with it. They just end up punting back, and that's the game. And then so the defense is really giving up on this offense, which is why the defense is really falling off. Even though they have a lot more pieces than they did when they were the top-ranked defense, they just don't have a reason because what's the point in trying so much when you can't even win games because of your offense? And people say defense wins championships. That's not true. Defense can bring you wins. They can get you wins. Defense does not win championships. It's offense. You need at least an okay offense. You look at the 49ers, their defense is amazing. They have a pretty good offense too. Like, their offense is good enough. Like, you give them the ball to score, they can get you some touchdowns. The Bears are not one of those teams. So now, after losing 3 games in a row for the Chicago Bears, they're 3-4 in the division, and they're third place in the division, and they're no longer in the talk for like Super Bowl. They're in the talk for is Mitchell Trubisky an actual starter? Should they be sticking with him? And by the end of the season, they were saying, yeah, they're going to stick with him just because they picked him 2nd overall, I think. Well, that's not what they said, but that's the reason why, basically. And even from that, it just continued to go downhill. I mean, they finished the season 7-9 with not a single. Oh, they had one impressive win. They had one good win, which is when they went to Dallas and beat the Dallas Cowboys, and Mitchell Trubisky played really good. Now, Dallas Cowboys is not, well, they are a good team, but on record, they're not a good team from this last season. But they are a good team. They have a lot of talent, and it was an impressive win to beat Dallas in their home field. And Mitchell Trubisky actually, that was his only good game in the entire season, and it was an impressive win. That was their only one that was like impressive. All the other ones were not, especially they had a lot of impressive losses, how bad the offense played. And this is not looking good at all for them, especially for this 2020 offseason. They have 4 picks. After the Nick Foles trade, they would have 5 picks. After the Nick Foles trade, 4 picks in next year's draft. Why? Why would you take Nick Foles? You have 4 picks to try to make your offense at least worth something. You have 4 picks to try to get wide receiver, quarterback, well, now not a quarterback, but wide receiver, running back, protection for Mitchell Trubisky. You have so much. You have 4 picks to try to improve your offense. That's it. Matt Nagy's on the hot seat. He's going to lose his job if he doesn't hit on at least 3 of these 4 picks. And what are the picks? They don't have a pick in the 1st round, so they can't trade out and get more picks. I think 2nd round, 3rd round, that's good. Just trade down. Trade down and try to get those 5th, 6th round picks. Maybe hit on one of these receivers. I don't know, but 4 picks to try to improve your offense. And not much cap space because you wanted to trade for Nick Foles' overpaid contract, giving up your 5th round pick? What? That makes no sense to me. That's got to be the dumbest trade of this entire offseason, is trading for Nick Foles. So now you're paying 2 quarterbacks this much money, no room, no money for free agents. You lose some pieces on your defense and offense, and now you have 4 picks to try to improve your offense. They are in no position to do well this next 3 seasons, basically. They're going to end up having to go into a full rebuild again when their defensive players are, because Hakeem Hicks and Khalil Mack, I don't know if they want to continue playing here when there's no offense that can actually basically light up the defense. I mean, when defense get rolling, the offense has to also get rolling, or else the team just falls apart. And this is what we saw from the Chicago Bears. And this is what I honestly thought was going to happen eventually with the Chicago Bears, because their offense is really bad. I mean, the running backs to Tyreek Owen looks really bad. David Montgomery looked really bad. Allen Robinson didn't even look like a wide receiver this last season. So yeah, what's going to happen with them? I don't know why they didn't stick with Chase Daniel behind Mitchell Trubisky. Instead, they wanted to get rid of all their cap space, pay this overpaid contract for Nick Foles, and get rid of one of their draft picks. I mean, maybe it'll work out. I mean, what we've seen so far, Nick Foles is probably the best backup quarterback to ever live, but is not a very good starter. And we knew the Jaguars was going to get rid of him anyway. I mean, the Jaguars, they want to stick with Minshew Mania or Gardner Minshew. They're probably going to cut Nick Foles in his overpaid contract anyways. Why not wait for that and then sign him, or take Jameis Winston or someone you don't have to pay that much money for? So they're in a rough spot right now and just got themselves into a worse spot. So it could come back, though. If Nick Foles really does take this team away, their defense can get rolling and they can look amazing again. So what we learned, Cody Parker's not your kicker. You can't blame a season on your kicker, even though he did miss a few kicks. I mean, you played the Philadelphia Eagles on a year they weren't even looking that great. So let me know what y'all think. Just let me know what y'all think. Was it okay, no, it was not a good season. Just anything, recommendations, feedback, anything in the description or comments. And then while you go down there to leave your comments, just click that like button. It really helps with the channel. And as always, till